The universe is preparing something special for the representatives of the sign of Scorpio. Changes are looming on the horizon that can turn life upside down and open a portal to a whole new reality full of happiness and harmony. From May 25, 2025 until 2061, when Neptune and Saturn are in a special position, Scorpios will have a unique opportunity to leave all previous failures and disappointments in the past. This time will be the perfect time to rethink life values, get rid of outdated beliefs, and start a whole new chapter. Already on April 27, Saturn entered the nakshatra of Uttara, marking the beginning of the starting point. The entire Scorpio karmic program enters an active phase, giving deep access to the causes of personal crises. Uttara opens a layer related to debts, personal, family and spiritual. Scorpio gains direct access to zero in on what has held him back for decades. Along with this comes the collapse of 3 myths the sign has lived with for years. The first, Scorpio is always alone because he chooses his own pain. In practice, another is seen: women of the zodiac sign give up the habit of keeping everything to themselves, emotionally shutting down and enduring humiliation from a partner, including cheating, abusive and dependent relationships. They stop being afraid to be happy, and this is not a metaphor, it is a fact. The psychological barrier disappears. Representatives of this zodiac sign stop interfering in other people's destinies, gaining the ability to let people go, not to harbor anger and not to burden themselves with relationships with women who have a destructive effect. This change does not happen suddenly, but is the result of a transformation of thinking, due to the astrological influence of Saturn, passing through the 5th house in Scorpios with an ascendant in this sign and through the 11th house in those in whom Scorpio is a solar sign. The common belief that Scorpios are unable to forgive, and therefore not able to cleanse themselves of negativity, is also untrue. Under the influence of Saturn in Uttara, especially in the 4th and 12th houses of the natal chart, memories of past pain are transformed into a valuable resource. Scorpios begin to analyze their own actions and remember who they themselves have hurt. This is not a punishment, but an opportunity to restore justice. Sincere apologies, repayment of debts and emotional cleansing become tools that trigger a new program of karmic development. Another misconception concerns the self-esteem of Scorpios, which is often considered low and hidden behind bravado. However, after experiencing pain and realizing their inner strength, Scorpios gain a genuine sense of self-worth. It is not ostentatious, but a deep and abiding sense of self-confidence. Scorpios undergo a transformation in their behavior, exhibiting calmness and confidence in their judgments, preferring action to fruitless arguments. Their confidence no longer needs external approval, signaling their readiness to enter a new 36-year cycle marked by prosperity, happiness, love and good fortune. An important astrological milestone will be May 25, 2025, when Neptune and Saturn simultaneously enter Aries. A similar phenomenon was observed in the early 1990s, and this time its influence will not be directed toward philosophical musings, but toward the material realm, money, property, real estate, inheritance, financial obligations, and growth strategies. For Scorpios, this will be the beginning of an important phase of taking control of the material basis of life, which up to this point may have been unstable or dependent on external circumstances. Issues related to debts, loans, litigation and conflicts with banks, partners or heirs will have a real opportunity for resolution. It is not a question of temporary measures, but of a systematic and sustainable settlement of all financial issues. In practical terms, this could translate into a resumption of financial flows from abroad, especially for those involved in freelancing, digital platforms, exports, or investments. The termination of restrictions previously placed on transfers and contracts opens a new chapter in the financial life of Scorpios. Circumstances are forming where cash flows are being directed to places where their presence has not been felt for a long time. The process of returning assets that have been frozen, burdened with legal difficulties or reissued to other persons, gaining momentum in the judicial and administrative instances. The outcome of these proceedings is unexpectedly favorable for the representatives of the sign of Scorpio. Financial success is especially bright in the 2nd and 8th houses of the horoscope for Scorpios born under this sign, as well as in the 6th and 11th houses for those in whom Scorpio is the ascendant. This indicates that material prosperity comes not only through hard work, but also through the resolution of long-standing karmic tasks. Significant sums may appear as a result of a court case or the return of an old debt, and due to a radical change in the source of income. Solar Scorpios reconsider their attitude to money, favoring freedom and personal comfort over status and external trappings. Ascendant Scorpios, on the other hand, focus on stability, investments, family well-being, and building a secure retirement base. Despite the differences in approach, they share the same goal, achieving financial independence and confidence in the future. Scorpios discover an interesting pattern: the more skillful and prudent they are in managing their finances, the wider their horizons of opportunity become in other areas of life, such as health, personal relationships, professional and leisure activities. This is not a fleeting feeling of excitement, but a lasting sense of confidence and stability that serves as a starting point for a new life, where there is no more room for limitations and constant lack of resources. On July 5, Neptune begins its retrograde motion in the sign of Pisces. Usually this astrological phenomenon is interpreted as a period of inner turmoil and confusion, but for Scorpios this process has a different meaning. Neptune's retrograde motion activates the fine-tuning of the emotional sphere, awakens the desire for love, trust, intimacy and restoration of lost emotional ties. Scorpio women with an ascendant in this sign undergo a transformation in the perception of interpersonal relationships. They refuse the usual strategy of, "I understand everything myself, I can handle everything myself," and allow themselves to experience feelings, accept support and enjoy true romance. Strong and strong-willed position gradually gives way to the need for sincere intimacy, but without excessive pressure and drama. Male partners also feel these changes, stop seeing their chosen woman as a threat and show readiness to build an equal and supportive union. Representatives of the sign of Scorpio, born under the rays of the sun, decisively draw a line under the past emotional obligations, leaving the vicious circle of destructive relationships, where betrayal, psychological pressure, or indifference has become a sad routine. For the first time in many years, and perhaps for the first time in their lives, they say a firm no to the poisonous connection, guided not by a momentary resentment, but by a mature realization. The vacated space is filled with a new type of love, based on mutual respect, strong sexual attraction, common aspirations, and the complete absence of meaningless intrigue. The special influence of the 5th house for ascendant Scorpios and the 7th house for solar Scorpios becomes a turning point. There is a situation when the relationship, terminated in the past due to mistrust, total control or external interference, gets a chance for revival. This return occurs under the condition of willingness of both partners to recognize past mistakes, forgive each other and change for the better. Examples include the restoration of a marriage after a long separation, the return of a lost love that could not be maintained because of one's own fears, the strengthening of a relationship that was based solely on physical intimacy but now has a solid emotional foundation. Representatives of the sign of Scorpio, having discarded the former games of inaccessibility, henceforth demonstrate a decisive initiative in love affairs. However, it does not look like conquest, more like a conscious recognition: this woman, mine, and my intentions with her absolutely serious. Neptune's influence does not manifest itself in ephemeral dreams, but in the tangible reality that Scorpio is ready to accept into his life. Those who have been alone find a reliable partner, those who have lost love get a chance to get it back, and those who are confused find clarity in their feelings. And all this does not happen in a world of illusions, but thanks to the inner readiness for love, which one does not want to miss anymore. On July 13, Saturn begins its retrograde motion in the constellation of Pisces, which is an important signal for Scorpios. The system of karmic justice is activated, as if it were live. All good deeds done for the benefit of others are returned to them 100-fold, and the evil directed against Scorpios is turned against those who initiated it. Ascendant Scorpios feel this movement especially acutely, as it affects their 5th and 6th houses. Unfriendly colleagues, envious neighbors, and toxic relatives lose access to their energy field and financial resources. Contacts that were previously difficult to get rid of break up on their own, making room for new opportunities and positive change. On the path of life, Scorpios no longer has room for those who hinder their development, sow anxiety, and pull back. Sensitive to energetic pressures, Scorpios feel the influence of people from the past, be it business partners, companions in property matters or other ill-wishers. Having previously manipulated their emotions, these people are no longer able to induce guilt or utilize emotional attachment. Scorpios decisively end relationships with those who have a destructive influence, cutting ties and limiting access to themselves. As a result, they gain valuable resources, energy, time, and new, useful acquaintances. On October 4th, Saturn enters the karmic nakshatra of Purva, which marks the beginning of a period of career upheaval. For ascendant Scorpios, the 10th house is activated, symbolizing structure, authority and recognition. For solar Scorpios, the 7th and 11th houses, responsible for contracts, public positions and increased income, are intensified. Changes are coming in everything related to professional life. Salaried employees may receive an offer to move to a new company or department with more favorable conditions, high pay, and a stable schedule. Employees come out of the shadows, receiving new authority, official recognition, a status increase and salary recalculation. Influential figures in middle management are actively optimizing their work teams, getting rid of those who do not meet high demands and strengthening their teams. At the same time, they are restructuring to improve efficiency. The most important element of these transformations is an unexpected and sometimes radical climb up the career ladder, which entails significant changes in the financial situation of the representatives of the sign of Scorpio. Rivals are unable to respond promptly to the changes taking place, and higher management can no longer ignore the achievements of Scorpions. At the heart of it all is a simple principle: the greatest benefit is received by those who have a wealth of experience and outstanding endurance. Special attention is paid to the category of retirees. The planet Saturn stimulates the revision of the accrual system, recalculations are carried out and social payments are increased. People who for a long time were in an uncertain social status, finally receive official registration and the opportunity to enjoy state support. Financial difficulties, which were previously perceived as a kind of punishment, are gradually becoming a thing of the past. There is a real opportunity not only to make ends meet, but also to help their children and grandchildren, to actively participate in the life of the family not only with advice, but also financially. According to astrological predictions, on November 28, Saturn goes into direct motion in the constellation of Pisces. For Scorpios, this means that the psychoenergetic defense is activated in full. A rare phenomenon begins to take effect. Signs and direct warnings come to them even before a real threat arises, which allows them to avoid many troubles. Not intuition at all, but a clear and well-tuned system of signals coming from the world around them, allows Scorpions to avoid trouble. From random phrases dropped by someone to dreams, from repetitive digital combinations to sudden slowdowns in habitual actions, all this is part of a complex system of warnings. Scorpios have a unique ability to quickly decipher these signs, which allows them to dodge scandals, avoid traffic accidents, and stay out of conflicts that threaten to spiral out of control. From the outside it may seem as if the universe itself protects them from any adversity, as if building an invisible shield. In reality, however, it's all about karmic protection, which Saturn is now activating in the direct phase, having solidified with its retrograde motion. Because of this, Scorpios feel an inner stability even in the most unstable situations. They are able to keep their distance from people who are prone to intrigue and discord, from those who carry the burden of litigation and hereditary conflicts. People prone to aggression, themselves stop communicating with Scorpio, and those who were previously the cause of constant disputes and proceedings, simply disappear from their lives. Especially bright this protection is manifested in the ascendant Scorpions, whose position in the 4th and 12th houses creates a powerful buffer that protects them from external aggression and negativity. From December 10th, when Neptune moves into direct motion, Scorpio's state of mind will finally stabilize. Health concerns and the desire for a stress-free, peaceful life will come to the forefront, allowing them to enjoy each day and maintain harmony for the rest of their lives. When a person stops wasting their energy on worries caused by resentments, obsessive worries and unfinished conversations, their body begins to recover. Sleep becomes sound and restful, healthy appetite returns, and there is a natural desire to take care of one's body. People who previously avoided visiting doctors, now get the opportunity to learn the exact diagnosis and undergo adequate treatment, getting rid of fears and manipulations. Psycho-emotional state is stabilized naturally, without artificial stimulants. Particular attention should be paid to those born under the sign of Sun Scorpio. They will feel the long-awaited relief, giving up total control over others. The desire to keep an eye on everyone who could potentially cause harm is a thing of the past, giving way to relaxation and peace. People with ascendant in Scorpio are coming out of a state of chronic inner tension. They no longer seek to take on all the responsibility, preferring to distribute it wisely among others. Allow those around you to express themselves and contribute. It is important to remember that physical well-being is directly related to this change. Previously unexplained symptoms such as chronic pain, blood pressure spikes and unexplained fatigue will gradually disappear, giving way to a feeling of lightness and vitality. The inner impulse for physical activity, a healthy diet and an organized daily routine arises naturally, without compulsion. Taking care of the body pays off. Previously unexplained symptoms such as chronic pain, blood pressure spikes and gratuitous fatigue become a thing of the past. They are replaced by a sustained motivation to move, eat a balanced diet and regimen, all in harmony with oneself. Worldview undergoes fundamental changes. Representatives of the sign of Scorpio are no longer afraid of happiness, do not look for ulterior motives in positive events and do not expect payback for joyful moments. Instead, they consciously live each moment when everything is calm, clear and pleasant. For the zodiac sign whose usual state for a long time was anxiety, such a transformation becomes a real discovery. Life can be easy, and it gradually becomes so. The regularity of the 36-year cycle is manifested with high precision. Those who live life to the full, pass on the accumulated experience of happiness in the family line. The only condition is that the heir must be a Scorpio, regardless of whether he is a solar or ascendant representative of this sign. Not material property is transferred, but a valuable resource, inner strength, protection and luck. This ancestral gift begins to act within a year after the departure of the ancestor, favorably influencing the life of the descendant. Dear representatives of the sign of Scorpio, astrological forecast deserves your close attention. Certain astronomical phenomena passing through the nakshatras play an important role in understanding the underlying causes of events, karmic connections, and prospects for the future, extending more than 5 years ahead. It is important to emphasize that astrological predictions are not based on fantasies, but on specific astrological parameters that have a direct impact on your life. When analyzing the forecast, it is important to take individual differences into account. Focus on information that relates directly to your zodiac sign. You should not draw generalized conclusions applicable to everyone. Astrological aspects manifest at a specific point in space and time, determining the unique nature of their impact. If your sun is in the sign of Scorpio, pay special attention to the solar forecast. If you are an ascendant Scorpio, carefully analyze the forecast by houses and nodes of the ascendant. To accurately determine your ascendant, you need to know your exact time and place of birth. Nowadays, there are many reliable online calculators that are in the public domain. Use them to get personalized information that will work for you. Let astrological knowledge become your compass on the path of life, bringing happiness, health and luck.